Alright, what's going on, guys? Try back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing another Walking Dead video for today, leading up to the 5th episode for The Walking Dead Season 8. In this one, we're going to give our thoughts on some possible foreshadowing in Episode 4 for Ezekiel's death. And possible spoiler warning for this one if you don't want to know any details from the Walking Dead comic book series about Ezekiel's future. There's no way getting around it. It's just kind of one of those things, like if we're talking about Ezekiel's death being foreshadowed, it's going to contain spoilers for the comics, but not necessarily for the TV series, because we really don't know what they're going to do with Ezekiel in the TV series. We don't know if his time in the show could be longer than it was in the comics. We don't know what they're going to do with him in the future. We don't know if they're going to be kind of maybe a bigger fan of his TV series version than the comic version and possibly keep him around longer. We don't know romantically what we're going to see him, who we're going to see him develop a relationship with. Could he develop a relationship with Carol? I think that makes a lot of sense, but in the comics, of course, him developing a relationship with Michonne versus Carol in the TV series, things could be a lot different for Ezekiel. So we'll have to see what goes on with this and how this goes. But a lot of people sent this one through, so I thought I would include it. And by the way, if you guys didn't see the review last night, did a review for Episode 4, did a reaction because it was a pretty big episode with a pretty big death at the end there, and then also did a predictions video for Episode 5 for the Big Scary You and what we think is going to happen. So in this one, Jay Morris said this, as well as Bright Star and Shad Media. They said, huge foreshadowing. The dude said Ezekiel's head could be on a pike. That's exactly how he dies in the comics. What are your thoughts, Trev? So it is true in the comic book series version that Ezekiel does eventually die, but that's no time soon. I mean, that would be quite a ways in the future. We're looking at least in the TV series, maybe, I don't know, 2 seasons or something like that, or at least a season, like maybe around season 10 or something like that, or late season 9 if they are to do it. I think in the TV series, they'll probably have to switch that one around quite a bit. I think when we eventually see the Whispers in the TV series, I think they're going to handle it a lot differently, and I think they're going to do some different things with it that we didn't get to see in the comics. Plus, the Whispers are very scary, so they're a group that they could really, in the TV series, expand on a little bit, do some different things with, and really instill that horror sense back into the series, once that group arrives probably next season, in season 9 or something like that. So it's a ways away anyway at this point, and we should have a lot more time left with Ezekiel even still. But it is true that, spoiler warning, Ezekiel is killed in the comic book series by Alpha, the leader of the Whispers at that time. And, he's one of the many. She kills like 13 people and puts all their heads on spikes or on pikes, spears, to mark a border between the Whispers and the survivors. So it's pretty brutal, to be honest with you. It really, really is. But we'll have to see in the TV series. It was kind of cool that we had, I guess his name is Gunther. They said it on Talking Dead. That's hilarious. That name actually fits. The savior who was wearing the glasses, looked like a serial killer, and was talking smack to Ezekiel when he had him with at gunpoint there. Pretty funny villain character. But I liked him. I thought he was pretty cool, and some of the dialogue he had was really some powerful stuff, man. Cuts deep, right? Some of the stuff that he said to Ezekiel. But that one for sure, about that possibility of, taking his head off and then just taking it back with him. That was pretty cool. And I would think that might be foreshadowing. But because they included it now, maybe instead of doing that, they'll actually do something different with Ezekiel instead of doing that in the TV series version. We'll see. But, yeah, so it's cool, though, that they put that in there. And I did. It was exciting. It was cool to see Jerry also save him. And I was very happy to see Jerry survive. Next one is, are you glad they kept Jerry around to be a standout from the kingdom? What future do you think he has? And yeah, I really am. And a lot of people said this in the comments. They were just hoping that Jerry wasn't dead most of the episode until we saw him kind of come back and save Ezekiel at that point. I'm really happy they kept Jerry around. And there are a few other Kingdomers as well, too, out there. There was a large group with Ezekiel, but there were other groups of Kingdomers in different subgroups. So there's some of them are with Morgan and the others, or at least a couple there. We saw, was it Diane, the one who uses the bow, I think? She was there with Morgan and some of the others. So guaranteed, the Kingdom is still probably going to have a number of survivors there. But yeah, they probably have lost the majority of their fighting force. Maybe half. You could say like at least half of their fighting force died in episode 3. But I am glad that they didn't kill Jerry off, and personally, I like Ezekiel a lot more now after episode 4 than I did prior to that. Prior to that, it was like, okay, he's cool, but he's basically an exact copy of the comic books, and they really didn't change much with him. He was pretty much verbatim, especially with the tiger and everything. But now that we've seen this season, and we've got to see more stuff with him, I would say I definitely like him a lot more than the comic book version, and I hope he does stay around for a while, and that maybe his fate is different in the TV series, and he's either kept on around as maybe a love interest for Carol or something else. We'll have to wait and see. Also, too, Carol doesn't really need another, spouse or child or whatever that she cares about just to see them being killed again. I feel like throughout the series, Carol has had so many people that she cares about killed. I really don't think it does much for her character at this point. If you were to do something like that, it's really just like more of the same of what she's come to see in the series. And so maybe you go a different route with that one in the TV series version. But it was kind of a cool kind of thing that they put in there. I really think this episode marks Ezekiel becoming a mainstay if there were still some people who thought he wasn't. And yeah, I agree with that 100%. That definitely this episode, it definitely makes Ezekiel one of your standout characters from the series, I think. Whereas before he was maybe forgettable for a lot of casual viewers. Right now, I feel like they're going to remember him. They're going to be, oh yeah, the guy with the tiger. That's right. Yeah, I remember him. So now they're going to have a better understanding of him, I think. So Hear Me Out says, where has Arat been this season? My guess is she got caught by a cat, Shiva. So we can see her in the preview video for next week, the promo video. You can see Arat there. She's in the background while all the lieutenants are talking about what to do. You got Gavin, you got Dwight, you got Simon, and the others. So she is there, so we should be seeing her this episode coming up. But that is one thing about The Walking Dead with regards to the cast and the crew, is that with the style they've been doing the last couple of years, they have all these people in the show, but then certain ones are like not there for like 3 or 4 episodes, and then finally come back. So I wonder if they're kind of irked by the fact that they're not in every episode like a lot of the characters used to be. Cham Rav says they might as well call Carol Snake for that Metal Gear Solid move she pulled inside the Savior building. And that was really cool. I mean, I kind of expect to see that from Carol at this point after all the seasons and all the battles she's seen and everything. It's pretty cool. The only thing I was thinking is like, how did she get in there? Like, first of all, it wasn't exactly as bad as like hiding under a dumpster or something, but it was kind of like how could you get up in there? Is there enough clearance? Like, is there enough space? Well, I guess maybe she could fit in because she's not that big or anything. She's probably under 100 pounds or something. So, but it was really cool, to see her mow down all the guys in there, and I thought it was pretty intense. And another thing too, like some people picking apart some of the action stuff and that kind of thing. I see in the comments a lot. Thing is, guys, you got to understand, like they only have a certain amount of time to film it. Sometimes you have to look for the meaning in what they're doing because of just the way it all works. And they're doing 16 episodes, so it's like, it's tough really for them to kind of action-wise probably perfect everything and plan everything out and make it that way. It's just, it's going to be hard. But I did think it was a little strange. How did she get up there? I thought she was, because when I was watching the scene, I thought she was in between, and I thought she was just going to they were going to walk by, maybe not notice her, and then she just like pop up and just like shoot them all. But being in the ceiling was maybe even cooler. Rebecca Byam says, Trev, do you think the Garbage Pail Kids are attacking Alexandria right now? So I don't think they are. We haven't seen Alexandria, and that's convenient for Denai Guerrero, who plays Michonne, and Christian Serratos, who plays Rosita, because they, of course, had some other stuff this season. And if you didn't notice, they have basically not been in this season at all. I mean, they're in the premiere a little bit, but aside from that, they're at Alexandria, and they're not even really, there, is what it is. So, I don't think Alexandria is under attack, no, but I do think that we will be seeing the Junkyard Group pretty soon. It's kind of clever the way they did it. It's one of those where people will probably forget about the group because we've had 4 full episodes, awesome episodes, with them not in it at all. And, at that point, you get into 5 and maybe partway through 5 or 6 when they show back up, people are going to be like, oh shit, I forgot about that group. They were in the series last season and forgot all about them this season because it's been all survivors versus saviors. But it also makes sense that they would kind of want to stay out of it a little bit and just let them fight it out and see who the winner's going to be. But because they did kind of do a coup on Rick and the survivors, you might think that the Junkyard group would take the side of the saviors. Dennis Whalen says, Talking Dead confirmed that the nerdy name was Gunther for the guy. So I decided to just put that in there because he called that, because I didn't know that. But that's really, really funny, man. It's just, if you guys have ever heard Gunther, the musician, it's pretty funny. It's like an old meme, that kind of stuff. You can search that. Just type in Gunther in YouTube search. You can see some of the music videos, the Tra-La-La one. That's funny. So anyway, there's some funny stuff with that, and that's a good. It fits him. It suits him perfectly. Christian Fenny Moore says, where does Ezekiel go from here? He came back to the kingdom with Shiva, and his troops lost. So where does he go? So he does still have some, that are out there that are probably going to come back and find out that, so many of the others have been killed. But I don't feel like the kingdom is totally lost at this point. I don't feel like the kingdom has been cleared out and has to surrender at this point. I do feel like they will have more fighters, and maybe we just, we haven't seen them right now. But I think that there's some that stayed back. There's some that went with the other groups. So I think they'll be back. Aaron N says, I like the zooms, actually. It made the scene funny. And that's one thing. I guess this episode was directed by somebody new. I was not familiar with him. It's Dan Lou. And I don't think I've seen him direct any episodes of Walking Dead up until now. So he could be a new director for the episode. I liked most of what they did in this episode. The only thing, like I said, the zooms I didn't like because, yes, they're funny, but they're not. It's not supposed to be funny. That's the problem. Objectively, you're not going for comedy in that scene. You're going for action, intense, that kind of deal. So it was still cool, but I just felt like it was a little bit unnecessary. Maybe, I don't know. You guys can leave your comments. Let me know. And the last one will be from Knights of Ren, who says, "Do you think we will see the Oceanside again, Trev? Love your videos." So there's lots of groups, lots of, we haven't seen Junkyard, we haven't seen Oceanside. There's other, Sherry, we haven't seen her, we haven't seen Heath. So there's lots of other stuff going on out there. It's just that we've had kind of tunnel vision this season on the battle, which is exactly what I want to see personally. Anyway, that'll be it for today's Q&A video, guys. For this week, check out the review and all that other stuff here in the end videos. Reaction review, predictions for episode 5. Awesome one this tonight. I'm filming this, Sunday night, so you guys watching on Monday. So yeah, but thanks for all your support, guys. Thanks for watching. If you like the video, please thumb it up below. Check out the others, share, favorite, and if you're new and you want to subscribe, you can do so at the bottom. That's it for this one. See you guys again soon for another. As always, it's Trev, and I'm saying peace. Later, guys. See you soon. Well, I hope you're wearing your subscribing pants.
What?
Your subscribing pants. Because you're going to subscribe to this channel wearing those pants.